Okay, this is the example Concrete 5 version 8 preview demo for meetups. So when everything was ready, go to slide 1. I am Franz. I am active with Concrete 5. I do development, so I can help you build things if you're interested. And I like something very much about where I'm at. I love Concrete 5 for some basic reasons. Concrete 5 was built for ease of use in mind. Training on a lot of CMSs can be like a half a day event with clients who are, madly taking notes, desperately hoping that the end product that they paid for is actually going to be something they can use. And Concrete 5 is the opposite of that. Concrete 5 is very easy for clients to learn and succeed with. Your training time can be 15 minutes, and your clients will start to have creative ideas about what they could do with their website instead of frantically calling you late on a Friday to try to post something they don't feel comfortable doing. Concrete 5 is also very easy for a group of people to use for managing a website. It's got a powerful permissions model, and there's a lot of larger organizations like Planned Parenthood and the U.S. Army that depend on Concrete 5 for sites that have hundreds of admins. And with version 8, it is going to be just as fast to build data-driven applications with Concrete 5 as it always has been to make content. There's a new feature called Express that lets you create relational databases and share them on the web without writing a line of code. So a little background on just what Concrete 5 is. Much like WordPress or Drupal, it is a middleware-based CMS. It's open source, but it is MIT licensed, which means you don't have to release your code for free for it in any capacity. Really, it's just a very simple do whatever you want, just don't sue the people who made it kind of license. It was designed to run on a LAMP stack, although you can certainly build on a Windows platform with it. It uses best practices for PHP. It's built around a relational model using Doctrine, and it uses a lot of libraries that you're comfortable with. It's not built on top of any one of these systems. It's not just a CMS on top of Laravel or Zend, but it does use libraries where it makes sense from these tools. And if you're comfortable with any of these, you should be able to get up to speed with Concrete 5 pretty quickly. So this is the editing experience with Concrete 5, just the basic, I need to change some stuff around. And what you'll see is you're already on the page here. You've logged in, so the Concrete 5 knows what you have permissions to edit, and you can pop the page in edit mode and edit things just like a word processor. If you see a typo, you can fix a typo without having to figure out where to go on the dashboard, backend, or control panel. Functionality is just as easy to tinker around with. We're adding a field to a form here, and we still have not left the page the form is on. There's all sorts of add-ons and blocks that you can add to the site, and you can drag and drop everything around. It's almost like putting a site together with Legos. Everything is versioned. We just saved a new version, so this works, but if it didn't, we could roll back. And that basic kind of, hey, this should be simple for anybody to pick up. No one trains you on how to use a word processor. You just start using it, and certainly there's advanced features that you do need to read the docs or get some training for. But it's a hands-on kind of experience, and that's what Concrete 5 does too. Concrete 5 version 7 is also very much responsive by default. So this is just the base template, and as we add an empty page and we can break it with these layouts, you see those breakpoints are actually at the Bootstrap responsive breakpoints. We're honoring the grid system here. And as we add a couple of different blocks and fill this out, you'll be able to see how well this template deals with the organic changes that come with any site over time. The designer never expected the client to put these columns here in this image here, but once we give the page a name and some short descriptions and choose where it goes in the tree, you will be able to see as this browser collapses, boom, 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 the image is changing, loading different sizes based on the browser width. And when you get small enough, we actually start to rearrange the order of the columns. As a developer, you can get really aggressive with how that should work in layouts, and you can have very complicated responsive sites that grow nicely over time. Concrete 5 is good for a team, kind of the second real great reason to use it. There are a lot of features under the hood for Concrete 5 to excel with a collaboration type environment. At simplest, what we're doing here is just adding a block that we're going to limit the permissions on. So it's just a hello employees block, and we've already set up some groups, but you can see you can get quite complicated with permission intersection and timed permissions and different roles. But now that block exists on the page, and you will only see it if you are in the employees group or better, if you will. Permissions are also set by the hierarchy, so at the page level. We already saw them being set at an individual block. You can set them at areas. There's all these different roles or tasks, rather, that you can accomplish in any page. You can pretty much do anything you can imagine when it comes to, hey, can we give some people access to some things to do here, but not everything. And there is a workflow system that sits on top of that as well. So you can have those permissions trip workflows, and people can get alerted. Multiple people can approve this and that. Very powerful. This, our last little video, and the brand new developer snapshot feature Express in version 8. What we're doing here is building a simple relational database inside of a website. So we're just going to add a form to the page, much like we added a question earlier. These answer types that you're adding are what we call custom attributes, and you can clump those together. In fact, by adding the form, we've clumped those two together and created an object for this page that will exist in the dashboard. And we're just submitting the form here. When you go in to, here we go, Express Data Objects, you can see here's all the different objects that we've made. Some of them from the pages, some of them we already had made before. And as I go into this careers object that got created when we made that form, you can see I can join other objects to it. So in this case, we've got a widgets object, and we just joined it with a many-to-one relationship. And now when I go into the submission for that form that we just submitted, I can choose which widget I want to relate to that form submission. So if you're a developer and you're kind of used to having to build CRUD interfaces from scratch, and how will we model your business problem in a way that I'm going to have to go spend weeks and weeks writing code, so you have all these list, search, and view interfaces, this will let you create all of that with just a few clicks, and it'll automatically scaffold out all those views that you need, and let you really focus on the idiosyncrasies and the fun part of your job, as opposed to the brute force. So last little tidbits to cover. Some other reasons that Concrete 5 is really cool. There is a marketplace of add-ons and themes at concrete5.org, much like most open source projects. The stuff you will find there has been pretty thoroughly tested by a peer review board of volunteers. Some of the stuff costs money, and any of that stuff is fully supported. So if you don't get support from the developers who built it, you can get a refund, and things in there work. There's also an enterprise suite and support plans available from the core team. It's not a separate product that kind of competes with the open source one. It's just a set of tools that help those larger groups collaborate on bigger projects and support to make sure that they have what they need. But it is entirely optional and just sits on top for helping you close those bigger deals when you want them. And it's a very active and accessible open source community. Concrete 5 has been around for a long time. It went open source in late 2008, early 2009, but it has managed to fly under the radar for quite a long while. And your involvement now and presence at Concrete 5 will certainly be noticed. So if you get on GitHub and start submitting code, it's quite possible that it will be accepted into the core, and you'll be part of a team that is building a product that many thousands of people love, but it's still pretty approachable. And that's what I have to present. Do you have any questions?